After declaring the parliamentary results for Okaikwe Central, Tema Central and Techiman South, the Electoral Commission has suspended the collation of Ablekuma North constituency. The reason? It says it has noticed some inconsistencies in some 20 pink sheet results that have been provided by the various parties.
Now, we were level 62 from the return of the Yugoslavia. After doing the collaboration with the two parties, they have reduced the 62 to 21 now. So he will need, because the 21, they are not agreeing. It's 20 or 20. They are not agreeing. So he will need time to study them again before he takes final decision. So we will suspend the collation for today to give him time. Then when he's ready, he will call us. Then we'll come and conclude.
You see, as we started, I said, I don't have the results. It was destroyed during my collation. So they brought sheets, results, and some of the results are in contention. Some of them, you can see mistakes on the sheets that they brought. So I need to confirm.
Is it the sheets that the NPP brought, or
the sheets that I have received from the parties? I have to authenticate them.
So if you say you have to authenticate, how are you going to do that?
That one is left with me. That one is left with me.
Well,
I have to.
You don't have the pink sheets. How are you?
I know my work. I know my work. I know how I'm going to do it.
After the Accra High Court ordered the Electoral Commission to collate results in these 4 constituencies, the EC declared Charles Forson of the NPP as MP-elect for Tema Central with 18,870 votes. Ebi Bright of the NDC polled 18,815 votes. In the Okaikwe Central constituency, NPP's Patrick Yalboama was declared winner after the collation with 21,099 votes. His closest contender, Baba Sadiq, polled 19,368 votes. In Techiman South, the NPP's Martin J. Mensah Kosa was declared winner by the Electoral Commission with 46,663 votes. The NDC's Christopher Baire polled 43,429 votes. Well, the NPP say they are satisfied with the processes so far.
But we continue to abide by the EC's guidelines and rules. We are all aware that at the commencement of this exercise, the EC said parties must submit to them their copies of the Form 8A from these 62 polling stations. We did. Whether scanned, soft copy, or hard. EC indicated that where there are discrepancies between parties' numbers, the final decision will come from them. We've gone through all the 62, 40 of them have been accepted. It means we are left to 20. EC says we need to give him some time, not more than 24 hours, for this exercise to be done. We will plead with our supporters and other stakeholders that let us respect the rules of the game.
However, the NDC have indicated that they do not recognize the collation exercise that is going on.
We are not going to take kindly with what is going on. We are not part of it. We will not respect whatever is coming out from this process because it's an illegal process. Completely illegal. In fact, our attention has been drawn. That's why I rushed down here to address the general public. Let the NDC supporters be aware that, look, they should be rest assured. Leadership is in charge. And we will make sure that the illegality going on here will be reset by the reset process. It's left with 2 days for us to start the reset.
With just 2 days until the members of parliament elect are sworn in, the Electoral Commission is obviously racing against time to decide on what to do with Ablekuma North.
Welcome to our big story segment on the AM show. Now, we know that the Electoral Commission have declared NPP parliamentary candidates as winners of 3 constituencies out of those 4 disputed. That is Tema Central, Okaikwe Central, and Techiman South. But it appears that's not the end of those disputed constituencies yet, because the NDC have appealed to the High Court, and they are calling this illegal. Luckily, we have Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer joining us via Zoom this morning to help us put this in perspective, and he's Deputy Director of Elections and IT. Doc, thank you so much for joining us on the AM show. Now, I remember when the Supreme Court quashed that ruling of the High Court to recollate and, to listen to the NDC MPs on that mandamus application, we had a conversation and I asked you if you'd be surprised if the ruling does not come in your favor. You said nothing of the sort could happen because the processes are being followed. It turns out that something contrary happened. And yesterday I listened to you say it is illegal. What is your case? We want to understand from your perspective why you say the declaration of these three results is illegal.
Very well. Sweetie, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and then you yourself. Clearly, what happened yesterday was a total illegality being perpetrated by the Electoral Commission. And then, you see, this Electoral Commission is fast becoming a very lawless institution. And we must purge it with this kind of lawlessness they have been doing. You see, anytime it suits them, they choose and pick. That's how they are. And that is why they have made themselves, and everybody now tend to believe that they are in collusion with NPP to deny those 4 constituencies right representations. That is what they are doing. And it appears they are just helping the NPP to show up their number. Because everything that they are doing point towards that direction.
Now, Doc, I want you to be as specific as possible so we understand your argument. What exactly is illegal in everything that we've seen so far? The High Court ruled on that mandamus application and asked that Electoral Commission conclude on collation, not recollate. So what's the illegality here?
The issue is about we filing a process to stay execution of the orders of the High Court. And on top of it, we also file an appeal against the ruling. We serve the Electoral Commission. They are in notice. They are aware of these processes. So why would they go ahead and conduct such an exercise yesterday? Is it not an illegal exercise? Why wouldn't we describe it as an illegal exercise? Were they not in the know that these processes were pending in the High Court? What was their haste? Why are they in their hurry?
Well, we have a couple of days to swearing in of the new members of parliament. Maybe it's a time factor, so that they can conclude this in time.
STAL was in perpetuity for 4 years. What did they do about it? What did they do about it? For 4 years, they didn't have representation. Didn't have Electoral Commission. Were they not the same these commissioners that made sure that SAL didn't get representation? What is in their haste? Why are they in the haste just trying to please the NPP? Or what is it? It's a legal process. We are all following the due process. We have filed this process, asking them to stay execution of that.
Okay,
and let's go through the right process.
Doc, what was your reason behind asking for that stay of execution and your appeal against the ruling? Now let's get into that.
Look, total travesty of justice occurred in High Court. I wish you were in the court to see the kind of ruling the High Court judge was presenting to everybody. Look, a bucket full of lies were poured in front of the judge, and he succumbed to those lies. He didn't even allow anybody to cross-examine those lies that the guys came and put it. Look, EC officials signed their affidavit, and in the affidavit, they deposed certain things they deposed in those affidavits. Complete lies, total lies, saying that their returning officers were forced to do declarations, that they were put on gunpoint, their lives were in danger, so they needed to do those declarations in order to get away from the troubles, and that NDC supporters came and vandalized their places and all that. Who cross-examined them? Nobody cross-examined this to find out the veracity of the stories they brought before the judge. But the judge made a ruling based on those things. So the judge was ruling as if he was sitting on an election petition. This was not an election petition. It was a mandamus. So his ruling was basically on an election petition, as if he was making his ruling based on an election petition. People have argued their cases. Nobody argued cases on the veracity of the declarations and all that.
All right, Doc, please
so
hold
on what
for me.
basis was he making ruling on that?
Okay, please hold for me. I'll come back to you in a bit. Let me also bring in Dr. Kwekwajiman Budu. He's Gimpa School of Law. He's Dean of Gimpa Law School, and he also joins us via Zoom. Doc, thank you for joining the conversation. I also remember having a conversation with you when we were awaiting the ruling on these 4 disputed constituencies. I asked you to make an educated guess, which you didn't exactly say what might happen. But are you happy with the results so far?
Good morning. It's not a question about being happy with the results. It's a question about whether the rulings of the court have done substantial justice to the issues at stake. And we all know what the issues at stake where the parties presented their cases respectively before.
Doc, kindly speak up for me. I'm struggling to hear you.
No, I was saying that the parties presented their cases respectively before the court. So at the end of the day, a decision has been arrived at based on what was presented before the court. So it's not a question about whether it was an election petition or not. That issue, there was a preliminary objection that was raised right at the beginning by the NDC candidates and the NDC itself, which the court went into and overruled that preliminary objection, which was grounded on the fact that the mandamus application was an election petition disguised as a mandamus application. The court disagreed based on the law, and the law is quite clear as to when mandamus will lie. And for the avoidance of doubt for your listeners, your viewers, a mandamus is simply an order that can be issued by a court to direct a public body or a public official to do its public duty. And to the extent that the Electoral Commission had not completed its public duty, which in this circumstance is collating the results in the specific constituencies in question, bear in mind that Regulation 43 of CI 127 says that you need a full complement of all the results from all polling stations in the constituency to be put on the Form 1C, that's the Parliamentary Election Results Collation form. And on that basis, you can transcribe that to the Form 1D, the summary sheet. So to the extent that in these constituencies concerned, that full complement of results from the polling stations had not been received and collated, and then there was a purported declaration, or as I choose to call it, an announcement made on the basis of not all the polling station results, you cannot have a declaration properly so-called in law. And I believe that was the basis for the decision. And the mandamus works in the way that there must be a public duty that has to be performed, which in this case, the Electoral Commission is supposed to supervise, conduct elections, collate, and declare the results. So clearly, if you were in court and you listen to the ruling, and when the ruling comes out, everybody will be able to read. The judge took his time to go through the process to make sure that the applicants for the mandamus had satisfied all those requirements, that yes, indeed, there was a public duty. Yes, there was a demand made which had been refused, and all that, and arrived at the conclusion that mandamus would therefore lie to compel the Electoral Commission to do its public duty. And the Electoral Commission itself also was saying that they also want to go and do their work because as the election management body, they had not concluded the elections in those 4 constituencies. So the argument that once an announcement is made at the collation center with or without the full complement of the election results, it's an unfortunate understanding of what the law is and how our elections are conducted.
Doug, the argument Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer is making is that the declaration is illegal because there was an application to stay the execution of that, and that was neglected, and the declaration still went ahead. And so they're back in court. They filed an appeal against the ruling. Are they doing the right thing as we speak? So are they wrong? I guess is the question I'm asking. Are they wrong
decision.
To call this an illegal declaration?
I don't know about that. It's not within my competence to say something was illegal or not. But for the purposes of public education, so that your listeners and viewers understand, a court gives its decision, its ruling in this particular circumstance. A dissatisfied party wants to appeal the ruling. It files a stay of execution. A stay of execution simply is that process which, if granted, generally speaking, will halt the proceedings or the matter that is to be executed, or the matter that you need to proceed on. So in this particular circumstance, mandamus was granted by the court, directed at the EC to go and complete the collation process. It was directed at the IGP and the Ghana Police Service to provide armed security for the purposes of the completion of that collation process. So if you have filed a notice of appeal seeking a stay of execution, but the order has been given and the EC has complied with the order, there's nothing else for you to stay. And I mean, and that's why these are live matters, so it's difficult to comment on some of these things which will end up in court one way or the other. But at the end of the day, what I'll say is let's wait for the process to take its natural course, which I believe it will take its natural course. So whether or not it is illegal, we would find out soon enough. I'm sure by today this matter will be resolved one way or the other. So it's not a question about feelings or thinking that something is wrong. It's a question of law. When the NDC had an issue with the High Court initially in the mandamus application that they weren't granted a hearing and they weren't made parties to the suit because they had filed a joint application, what did we see? They applied for a writ of certiorari at the Supreme Court to quash the decision of the High Court. What happened? The Supreme Court, in its wisdom, decided that 4 out of the 6 applications that had been made, yes, indeed, certiorari will be granted to quash those orders of mandamus. So we should go back to the High Court for the High Court to give the NDC a hearing. And that was complied with by everyone. So if the decision now, after the mandamus has been heard and the decision has been arrived at, we just follow the due process of law and we would get a resolution one way or the other. Remember that all that we're going through is a legal process. Okay. Take the politics outside and all the nuances and things of that sort. It's a legal process that must be complied with. Elections are legal processes. They are processes that must be complied with. All right, Doc. Like you said, compilation of all the results in all the polling stations in a constituency before you can have a valid declaration in law. So Doc, to the extent that an announcement is made at the polling station, not based on all the polling station results, I'm sorry, but that cannot, by any stretch of the imagination, be deemed to be a declaration in law. And everyone knows this. Okay. Please confirm for me, you are part of the lawyers for the NPP, are you not? Mm-hmm. Is that a confirmation? You are part of the lawyers for the NPP? Yes. Okay. And I'm expressing a legal opinion based on my expertise as well. Right. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that before I move on to Dr. Rashid Tanko. Doc, I'm sure you've listened to Dr. Budu now. So what do you make of the things that he has said? Your call has been put on hold. Please wait. Do I still have Dr. Rashid Tanko with me? Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. He says it's just legal processes.
I'm not surprised you asked him that question. I know he was just doing the same NPP propaganda. He was not speaking of law. He was speaking of NPP propaganda. I just wanted to clarify, Doc. No, that's right. But I'm happy you have put him on that strict proof. He was speaking NPP propaganda. He wasn't speaking law. I say these are the problem we have in Ghana. Okay, if you should have put that NPP lenses somewhere and where his law lenses and go through it. What is he talking about? Who told him that you cannot make declarations without necessarily going through all the polling stations? Who told him? Where did he learn that thing from? How was John Mahama declared? Was he not declared without 9 constituencies? What is declared without the 9 constituencies? What is he talking about? You see, these are the things they do and mess up everybody in the country. You should stop their NPP propaganda, and let's face it. And I'm saying that it doesn't lie in the judge mouth to make a declaration based on a Mendemus application, which he turned it to be, disguised it in the form of a election petition. That's what they were doing.
Okay.
We know the kind of collusion that went through that process. Look, and I'm saying that if you want us to go that path, we will go that path and they will see. I see, we know what they have done.
Dr.
And we are going to make sure that we are not going to allow it to stand.
Okay, so let's look at the bottom line, right? In terms of the results that we have so far, in Tema Central, the EC, what's his name? Mr. Forson secured 18,870 votes, narrowly defeating Ebi Bright, who had 18,815 votes. For Okwankwe Central, we have Patrick Yabuama with 21,099 votes. And Baba Sadiq had 19,368 votes. And then in Techiman South, after collating all the results now, we have Mr. Kosa has 46,663 votes, while Christopher Bayere has 43,429 votes. Bottom line, are these results going to be contested by the NDC?
Of course, the thing we are going to allow it to stand.
And what's your reason? Does your pink sheet or your own independently collated results, is it different from what we have right now from the EC?
Look, what you have from the EC is a creation of NPP and Electoral Commission put together. They even brought their own people to do declaration. Do you know that we don't have anything like deputy returning officers in our CI? CI 127, tell me which part of it has deputy returning officer? This is what happened at Tema Central yesterday when they were doing their own coalition. Look at the man. He described himself as a deputy returning officer and said, made the correct. So they are telling us today, Boss Manasari can announce presidential results when Jean Mensa is sitting there. Is that what they are telling us?
Dr. Tanko.
When the judge was sitting at the High Court and saying this, I'm saying that those things, if they want us to go into election petition matter, we'll go into the matter. And I'm saying that those declarations so made yesterday were illegal.
Okay, Dr. Zanko, we don't have enough time. I want to be sure. Do you have different numbers from what we have? The numbers I just put out in Tema Central, Okankwe Central, and Techiman South. The independently collated results you have, are they different from what the numbers I just put out? Sweetie,
when the returning officers declare as winners, which number did they use to declare as winners? Which number did they use to declare? Were they not satisfied that the NDC won those seats? They were satisfied in their mind before they made those declarations. So which numbers did they use? Today they have different numbers. They came with, do you know that these people manufactured their own pink sheets and came in and arrived at these numbers? They brought their own pink sheets. Look at what is going on at Ablekuma North. That's why there's a stalemate. They brought their own pink. They didn't even have. They just sat on a laptop and designed pink sheets and said these are soft copies. That is what they are doing.
Are you going to put
We've all learned this thing. I am saying that if we are going to follow these figures are manufactured figures at the collation centers by opponents of NDC.
Right. So are you going to put out the figures that you have?
Brought them there and declared themselves.
Dr. Tanko,
we saw it.
Are you going to put out the figures that you have? And we should be wrapping up so briefly. Are you going to put out the figures that you have so everyone can see the difference that you talk about?
Is that what you want us to do? You want us to now turn ourselves to electoral commissioners and start bringing our figures
ourselves? Well, these are the results that are in public.
If we
and
do
you're
that,
saying that
if we go that
they are
path,
illegal.
But we are saying that we are going through the legal process. That is why we are going through it. If you want us to bring figures, how can bring a figure right now? And for whose interest?
Okay.
That is why I'm saying that let's do the thing judiciously so that everybody will know that these are the right things that we are doing. Not NPP manufactured lawyers who will sit down there and then be concocting their own stories and come and put on pure lies on public platforms.
In a matter of hours, Dr. Tanko, in a matter of hours, the 8th Parliament will exit and we'll have a new Parliament. What are the next steps for you as regards to those 4 disputed constituencies? Next steps?
Our lawyers are in action as I speak now. Our Director of Legal Services, that is Edwigi Tamaklo and his team, they have their plans and they will not disclose this. We are not disclosing our plans now. When we reach, we'll cross.
Thank
we have
you
it
so
under
much.
our sleeves. We have our plans under our sleeves.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanko Computer Rashid, and he's Deputy Director for Elections and IT from the NDC. We've lost the Dean of Gimpa School of Law and member of the NPP lawyers, and Dr. Kweku Ajiman Budu, and we've lost him, but that's how we're wrapping up for this belt of conversation. But you want to stay with us because there's still so much more coming your way. We'll be taking a look at that 8th and 9th Parliament exiting and beginning today in a matter of hours. Please stay. We'll be back in a bit.